Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be working on the tie rod ends, the inner, outer, new collars, new power steering, idler arm on the Mustang. And as you already know, I got all my stuff from my main man Dan over at Maryland Mustang. I'm going to go ahead and take you guys out to the car and we'll get going from there. So we're out at the car. Went ahead and removed the passenger tire. As you can see, driver's side, I have a lug nut I can't get off, so I get out the tire iron, then use my jack, little pull from the jack, and it still couldn't get it off. It's just rounded, I think, a little too much, which I never replaced them. I just used what was on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace all of them on the car. Either go to the auto parts store and get the little like extractor for rounded bolts for that lug nut, and if I get it off, cool. If not, I'll have to figure out how to get it off. Hope I can get it off. Anyway, I'll go ahead and get new lug nuts for the entire car and the spacers, because the front has a 1-inch spacer. As you can see, 1-inch spacer on it. And then the brake caliper. So previous issue coming home, this caliper mounting bolt, the top one right here, it went ahead and stripped out on me and backed out over time, meaning this caliper actually ended up hitting the wheel, and the car was seized on the side of the road. Actually had to just get under there, grabbed a ratchet strap, a bungee cord, bungeed it up back to the upper control arm, and was able to at least get it back to where it wasn't literally driving into the wheel, and I was able to lump it home. The issue with the wheel woods is the time when I bought them, the instructions weren't all that great, and there's actually fine threads and coarse threads, and nowhere on there does it specify what and where you need to use it. So I remember I had a lot of issues with that, and I guarantee I probably had, well, knowing now, probably had the coarse threads and the fine threads, and it kind of caught and probably stripped out most of them. So that's probably what happened. So I'll have to order up a new bracket. I did tap the die this really quick, the caliper mounting bracket right here, and it didn't hold up all that great, but I couldn't get in there. Wasn't a lot of room, and I was just trying to get something there where I can move this at least out of the way on the street if needed, and we can. So have to get that done. And then right now we're gonna get back into the subject at hand, which is the tie rods. So whenever I drive the car, this passenger side wheel is straight, driver's side one's definitely kicked out to the left, and whenever I hit a bump in the road or anything, the whole car will just start drifting right hardcore, and it's almost impossible to get it back to the left without overcorrecting, and then it just kind of shoots over, and it's scary to say the least right now. But I did a little measuring already. These are 18 millimeters, so I'm just going to hit these on time lapse to 18 millimeters. Hopefully the light holds out a little bit, and at least get this passenger side off, and probably leave the car up on jack stands. I think we're going to have no rain for the next couple days, so if I have to do this in stages and I can get it done in a couple days, I will, and that is the plan. So hopefully we'll have this one off. Wish me luck. These look pretty seized on the spindle and everything, so this is not going to be fun, but we'll get it. So we got the first tie rod end. Tie rods are off on the passenger side, as you saw. Just took a lot of beating. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of light left, so I might try and just disconnect the idler arm tonight, and then just call it good. So that's probably all I'm going to do tonight, and then pick up my tools, throw them in the car until tomorrow. Hopefully the weather hangs out, and we can kind of just leave everything as is for a little bit until the weather cooperates a little bit more. So I'm just going to knock that out probably off camera and continue back tomorrow. So we're back the next day, guys. Here we are on the passenger side. Just got the tie rod off. I don't have any of the hardware though for the idler arm, so the 2 bolts there, the big long one that goes through, so I'm going to get those on order. I'm still going to go ahead and put the tie rod on. I just have that inside right now, that way I can get all my measurements and everything off of that, and hopefully get it. As you can see, these things are really old and crusty, and definitely time for a replacement. Anyway, so I was working over on getting this tire off on this side, and well, I just have a very rounded lug nut over here, this one here, so I'm hoping, I just bought this like lug nut extractor thing from the auto parts store, and I'm hoping I'll be able to get it off. The other ones are fine, it's just that one, so it's very, very rounded, kind of hard to see in there. And yes, I plan on getting new wheels or getting these ones cleaned up, but for the time being they're good. Anyway, so I'm going to work on this lug nut, hopefully we can get it off, and we'll go from there. Looks like you got to beat this thing on there pretty good, and then send it with your impact, and hope it works out. I really hope I can get it off, because if it doesn't, I really don't know what I'll do. I have to dig around online and see what, you know, other tips and tricks on getting it off. Anyway, that is that. I'm gonna get to work on this lug nut, and I will update you guys, hopefully with good news that we got it off. So no luck on the driver's side getting that lug nut off yet, so I'm gonna keep looking into that. In the meantime, I am gonna go ahead and install the new tie rod setup. This is just a factory replacement from ACP. So you have your outer tie rod will go here, and then your inner is gonna go to your center link. Let me get you around, and that is gonna go right in here. So pretty straightforward. Basically, you want the rubber boot on the center link to be facing that way, so your castle nut will be, you know, towards the back side of the car. And with the outer tie rod, you want that with the rubber on top, castle nut on the bottom. And that's about it. I mean, it's pretty simple. Here's the old one here, and I could use that for comparison of length, but to be honest, I'm just gonna have it. I'm not gonna use that because it's just so bad. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and put this guy on there and call it a day. And then they are measured up for both sides. Already have measured up to where they are at least the same. So it'd be really, really wrong, or we'll be all right. We'll find out later on, I guess. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and throw that guy on, and we'll be done. So we got the tie rod on, as you guys saw, inner and outer. I still need to clean up all the grease on the inner, as you can see. Not really sure how much is supposed to be in there, so I just kind of pump it till it kind of comes out. It seems to work. Cotter pins too. Let's get the debate in the comments. Do you go both of them around in the same spot, or do you one way, one the other? To be honest, I don't think I stick with the one over the other. Kind of just whatever happens at that time. And then I was looking at the idler arm, and I was noticing there wasn't really a bolt, so I just kind of hit it. And you see, that goes into what I believe is called the pit mill. But really, I should be able, in theory, to take those 2 bolts off and get that idler arm on there, which is going to be the plan. Here is the new one. This is just an ACP replication part, repop part, but I can go ahead and get that on going too. So I'm going to start by removing those 2 bolts. I'll see what happens. I've heard horror stories about these 2 bolts, and quite frankly, I got some thoughts if they're going to come out or not good ones. So I'm hoping I can get them off, so we will see. I'm just going to hit it with a ratchet socket, hopefully not strip anything out. I'm going to drop that guy, and once I drop that, then I can put the new one in, reuse those bolts. And hopefully we're good to go, and at that point I will call it a wrap for the passenger side. still got to grab the part number for this Willwood caliper mounting bracket. At least I can get the wheel back on and everything. And yeah, that'll be hopefully a quick and easy. Honestly, the tie rods were not that bad. I don't know where to put these here, kind of where they go. So I got them pretty snug enough where I think once I get it all together, I can take over to the alignment shop, they can loosen these back up, get everything back into spec. So didn't want to over tighten those, so the guys who end up messing with it all can get it easily squared away. But right now we're just going to move back onto that idle arm. Nothing too exciting. Take off those 2 bolts. Should essentially kind of fall out. Put the new one on, and then I'm going to be reusing this like little washer and nut that came with it, and then I have new cotter pins, so I'll just use one of those too. Replace it while I'm here. So put you guys on time lapse now. Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, we're going to be working on the second strut, inner and outer tie rods, sorry, on the Mustang. I've been having a heck of a time. I had to grind off this wheel stud on the spacer because the lug nut and everything was just so freaking rusted. Couldn't do anything with it. So I have all new, brand new lug nuts. Lug nuts. I have 20 of them from Dan over at Maryland Mustang. They're like the stock pre-production pieces. So these ones are on there nice and good, and they still have, you know, they're not rounded or anything. So you know, I'll probably just keep this on here for now until I order a new wheel lug nut or wheel spacer, which I'll order tonight, and it'll take a few days to get here. So in the meantime, I am going to go ahead and get the inner and outer tie rod done on this side, and potentially remove the power steering slave and everything if they're pretty easy. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not going to be using the power steering anymore, and I don't even have the pump or anything hooked up. So we're going to go ahead and just knock these guys out. They are super simple. It's just a cotter pin, you cancel nut, you just kind of beat on a little bit, it falls down. And then I could go and actually get this thing aligned, which it desperately needs. Previously I was able to get the passenger side because it's like nothing on. So this went on rather easy. So there's the new one with the new ACP out of the arm as well. So let's see if you can see through there maybe. Yeah. There's a new one, and it just looks a million times better. You got it all filled up with grease. And then I'm just gonna do a quick kind of eyeball alignment once I get the wheel on, just so I can drive it and have a little bit more confidence. But the way I'm gonna do that is by getting it down and taking a couple of jack stands from the back of the wheel. I'll get those connected on this plane, on the back of the wheel, the front, whatever. That way they are set, you know, the wheel well, hopefully pretty close. And then I'm just gonna take a level on my wheel and then get it, you know, I know it needs a little bit of camber, but it probably just won't have any. I'm just trying to get it as level as I can. And then work on the strut rods, and that should probably give a little bit of camber, I'm not entirely sure. And then really just work on getting the wheels straight with the rear wheels. So what I'll do is I'll just run jack stands from the back and run a string and just try and get it matched up off the back wheel to the front with the wheel coming straight. Should be pretty easy. So anyway, I'm just gonna throw you guys on time lapse, knock out this cotter pin, get that guy out of there, and then knock out the other cotter pin up there, and then see if I can go ahead. It looks like I might need to keep these because there's other arms and stuff that I'm honestly just not familiar with. So I'll probably just actually keep that for now, looking at it. But that's it. Should be pretty simple. Let me go ahead and just put you guys on time lapse. I'm gonna get working.